Joe Biden, man, I'm voting for Trump.
But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Voting for Trump, the whole hood's for Trump. But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. United we stand and we standing with Trump.
Dear white people, will you take our vote? Why the Democrats always try to steal our hope?
I'd rather have a president with a mugshot than the president pedophile that we got. I'm sorry, Trump, I ain't vote for you last time. They was hating on you, spreading lies last time. Made me relate when they hit you with the Rico. Now the whole hood screaming free Trumpito. Trump, how you get indicted before anybody on Epstein's list? Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. Saying that you racist, but I don't see no evidence. But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Voting for Trump, the whole hood's for Trump. But Joe Biden, yeah, I'm voting for Trump. Blacks for Trump, Latinos for Trump. United we stand and we standing with Trump.
Dear white people, will you take our vote? Why the Democrats always try to steal our hope? They don't hit them with a Rico. They don't hit them with a Rico. We the Trump Latino.
So my Latino for Trump.
Still voting for you even if you innocent. You risked your life for the people, yeah. FJB, yeah, you used our race. You and your son got Ukraine paid. Two-step in the name of Trump. We gon' step for Uncle Trump. United we stand, with Trump we gon' ball. United we stand, with Biden we fall.
All my people need to wake up. The Democrat Party ain't doing nothing for us. They say Trump a racist, I don't see it. He free Kodak Weezy, he bout to free Young Thug. Mr. President, I'ma vote for you even if you in a jail cell. I guess I'm MAGA.
Joe Biden, man, I'm voting for Trump.
So if you followed me for a while, you know that I never stick up for Trump. I'm an independent and I see things on both sides and I see the positive and negative. Here's the deal though. When you are spending so much money, time, and energy on trying to take somebody down, it makes me want to look at things differently. Trump is no longer the president, yet this current administration, pretty much majority of the time, blames everything on Trump, even though they've been the current administration for 2 years. The fact that they're spending so much, again, time, money, and energy on trying to take him down, I'm starting to feel like maybe everything that he said was true. Like, I remember when he was first president, if you follow me, you know this, I was devastated, right? And he was saying things like fake news. And I was like, what a douchebag, right? And he was talking about how much evil there was and how the MSN, the mainstream media, and the liberals and Democrats were hiding from us and were actually doing some very sketchy, illegal, awful things. And I kept thinking, my God, he's lost his mind. But now, when the left, the media, the liberals and Democrats are trying so hard to take him down and silence him, I'm like, maybe he wasn't batshit crazy. Maybe he does have information and knowledge about things that they're doing, and that's why they're spending so much time, energy, and money on trying to take him down and silence him. Pretty much silence everybody who doesn't agree and toe the line. It makes me, and I hope a lot of other people, open their minds and their eyes and see what truly might be going on. I mean, at least pause, take a step back and think, could I be wrong? Could everything I've been told be wrong? And I think if you take some time and delve and do some research that's not just given to you, like go and delve in and get more information from more than one resource, your eyes are going to be opened. Now I'm awake, not woke. It's uncomfortable to see the things, and I get it, right? It might feel better not to know these things and believe these things, but it's dangerous if you don't see them and if you don't speak about them. By the time you do see them, it's going to be too late to speak about them and to fight back.
I don't mean no harm, and I don't give a damn who this offends. But if that nigga Trump get convicted of this crime and he can still run for president, I'm voting for his ass. I'm voting for that nigga. I'm voting for him. If that nigga gets convicted and he can still run for president just to see what the fuck he do, because that nigga funny now, Trump is funny as hell, I'm voting for him. I'm telling you right now, okay? So just miss me with it. Make America great again.
Man, how are y'all doing? This is We Talk Freely, and these are some of the things that have been coming across my feeds the past couple days. And I wanted to just kind of share this energy that I'm seeing all over the place with y'all. Pardon the language, you know, this normally isn't that kind of a show, but, you know, it's people talking freely, and I'm not here to filter what people are saying. I'm not here to filter what people are feeling. So, you know, I just want to share with you what I'm finding here, because I don't think a lot of people are seeing that on their timelines, especially like if you're on Facebook and Instagram and all that other stuff. A lot of the voices of the people are really getting filtered out there. So I want to bring to you what I'm seeing and see if you guys are seeing anything different. I want to know what you guys think about all of this, because I think honestly America's starting to wake up. I really do. You know, a little over a decade ago, I started on my walk-away journey, and I converted over from the left to the right. And I saw this stuff coming from a mile away because I'm a big reader. I'm a big studier. I like to just dig, root around. And somebody who was in sales like myself for as long as I was, you know, you start to see these little tells and things like that. Really good tool when you're playing poker, but when you're watching politics, it comes out a little bit different. You start seeing how these people are acting. You start seeing the reactions that they make, and you start to wonder to yourself, are they really being authentic? Part of my big wake-up call myself, which I think is kind of funny that all these people are running around saying that they're woke, but the whole time that they're woke, they're just running around with their hands over their eyes saying, I don't see it, I don't see it. But I think America is finally starting to take those blinders off, and I think we're on the right path. You know, I tell people all the time, I have faith in our country. This is a beautiful country. And I do believe in the whole Make America Great Again model. I do believe that we can make this country great again. But the big thing is that we actually have to come together. We actually have to unite. You know, I was big into the rave scene, and we used to run around saying plur all the time. Peace, love, unity, and respect. And if we don't have that, I mean, we're just going to all be enemies to each other. And I still stick to that peace, love, unity, and respect. People may not like me for it, people may hate me for it, but I still hold to it. So there's been a lot of news that's been going on outside of everybody coming out and talking about how they feel about the Trump indictments. Our governor here in Georgia, Brian Kemp, has really been kind of punching himself in the face. This whole thing, you know, in previous episodes I showed where he said that the majority of Georgia Republicans don't want to live in the past, they just want to move forward. But I gotta tell you, that's bullcrap. You know, we aren't really trying to live in the past. We're being forced to live in the past. As you see these indictments, I mean, Democrats are sitting there pulling up what Trump is calling a perfectly fine phone call. And here we are, what is it, almost 3 years later, and they're taking him to court on it. They're forcing him and his legal staff and everybody attached to him through these trumped up charges, no pun intended, to disqualify him from the ballot. And they're using him challenging a previous election, the same election that Brian Kemp says that nobody's worried about. They're using that to try to railroad this guy and try to get him off of the ballot. So, I want to start off today. Let's see. Yeah, we're still up there. Bye, guys. Let me pull up my tabs from today. I'm going to start off with Newsmax here, talking about these indictments. Report from Georgia, DA Willis has evidence clearing some of the people that are indicted. Apparently, she's actually holding back some evidence, or has evidence that will actually clear some people's names, because the charges that she's bringing against people are cleared with what she has. So this article goes on to say, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has evidence that clears some Republicans targeted in Georgia indictment of former President Donald Trump and 18 others. The Federalist has reported. That's actually where it originally comes from. Willis has claimed that Republican electors for Trump constituted an unlawful conspiracy to overturn the results in Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Now, off topic of this article, what was the conspiracy in reality? The conspiracy was that there was people that were tampering with the evidence, or tampering with the voter rolls, tampering with the ballots, that some of the processes for the mail-in and drop-off boxes were illegal. These were the things that they were charging, I guess you could say, or curious about, that Trump was curious about. You know, if you guys remember, here in the state of Georgia, up there in Fulton County, there was, in the middle of the night on election night, there was a reported water main break, and that was the reason that they had to stop counting ballots. So they sent the majority of everyone home, but after, or the vote counters, they sent the majority of the vote counters home, and then once everybody left, there were people that stayed behind and continued to tally the votes. And I'm going to get into that here just in a few minutes, because there's another interesting situation that's happening all on this in Brian Kemp's state of Georgia. But it goes on to say, included in those charged are David Schaefer, one of Georgia's 2020 Republican electors, and Ray Smith, who was one of Trump's lawyers at the time of the election. In the August 14th indictment, Willis alleged that Schaefer and other alternate electors unlawfully falsely held themselves out as Georgia's duly elected and qualified presidential electors. And she maintained these electors, along with Smith's assistants, tried to mislead officials such as then Vice President Mike Pence and Georgia Secretary Brad Raffensperger into believing that they actually were such officers. But the Federalist noted Willis possesses a document that reveals a completely different story. That document, a transcript of the Georgia Republican electors from December 14, 2020 meeting, was obtained by the Federalist. That document reportedly shows the intent behind casting alternate electors was to lawfully preserve Trump's legal challenge to Georgia's election results, and not to impersonate public officers, as Willis alleged, according to the outlet. So I definitely suggest go check out this Federalist article that they're talking about, and go to this Newsmax article if you want to double check the information that I'm bringing up. It's not hard to find. It's right there on their website. Do check behind me. Information changes. By the time you guys see this recording, something else may have happened. Big part of this show, though, is I want to make sure that you know exactly where I'm getting my information on, what I'm reporting on, so you can check it yourself. Our country would not be in the position that it is in if more people would just do a little bit of homework. I know it's frustrating, but if we can sit there on our recliners, couches, beds, you name it, and sit there for like 2-3 hours just meandering around on Facebook or Twitter, we can spend some time reading a few of these articles. It only takes a couple minutes. Normally they don't write too much in them. So maybe 60 seconds per article if you're decent at reading. So to move forward, because of stuff like this, I couldn't help but to notice, and I wanted to show y'all, there's a new movement happening here on X, on Twitter, and it's the Recall Kemp. Like, Georgians are pissed, y'all. And it's not just Georgians, it's people all over, but the majority of this is people from Georgia. They're done. They are done. They don't want to see Brian Kemp in office anymore. I'm one of them. I'm over it too. The guy has been a flop through and through. Like I said in a much earlier episode, he did not win this election here in Georgia. He got it handed to him because Stacey Abrams, towards the end of her election, became so horrible in her campaign that people just did not want to try. You know, if Stacey Abrams would have taken a more common sense approach, we would be a completely blue state from top to bottom right now. Stacey Abrams defeated herself. Kemp did not win. And so now you have this. The people of Georgia are pissed. They're over it. I just wanted to share that with you really quick. And if you don't believe me, you know, Kemp was saying, you know, people don't want to live in the past. You know, the energy for Trump in there. Well, maybe he didn't say that part, but basically implied it. But you look at this, new interactive polls that have come out. Look at those numbers. Here, I'll make it bigger for you. And even bigger. Look at this, in the state of Georgia. 57% versus April. DeSantis is down at 15%. Pence 4%. Hold on. How does Pence even have 4%? Who in Georgia is voting for him? Really? I would love to hear from y'all down in the comments. For real. But anyway, so then we got, Rick Scott, Nikki Haley, both with 3%. Oh yeah, and Vivek Ramaswamy up there at 3%. I actually figured that he would be a little bit higher up there. And then Chris Christie at 2% and Suarez at 1%. Personally, I don't know Suarez. Sorry, his information just hasn't come across. Curious to hear what he's got to say, though. But look, over half of the Georgia voters that participated in this poll, they want Trump. And I'm pretty sure that those same people aren't going to be optioning Biden at all, realistically. Normally these polls are kind of one side. So, yeah, this is for the Republican nomination. It's hands down. And if you look, if you go through state by state by state by state, these numbers aren't exactly the same, but they are very similar pretty much across the whole country. I think I've only seen one major shift. I think it was in Nevada. I'm butchering it. I'm sorry. But anyway, out there in Nevada, their numbers are a little bit different. They're a little bit bluer. Those are the only. That's one of the states that we are getting some consistent numbers from. But of course, you know, not every state in the United States is going to vote overwhelmingly the same way. I expect to see some shifts. You know, I'm pretty sure as the New York numbers come out, we're going to see some different numbers there as well. But for the majority of the states and the majority of the swing states, the numbers are actually looking very similar to what you guys are seeing right here on this screen. So moving forward from that, it's interesting how deep this whole thing in Georgia is getting, because it's actually extended out to the Gateway Pundit. I don't know if you guys know this, but there is apparently some legal action going against them, and I believe it's for defamation and stuff. But let me go into this article here, and I'll read a bit for you guys. But if you really want to see the meat and potatoes of it, I suggest heavily go to the Gateway Pundit yourself, read these articles, because I'm going to skip around a little bit in here, just kind of make up for a little bit of time. Attorneys representing Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss attack the Gateway Pundit, TGP, Jim and Joe Hoft. Professor and attorney David Clements responds. Let's see here. Where's his response? Sorry. This case is about eliminating free speech in America, the article says. When the Hoff brothers reported on the apparent actions Ruby and Shay engaged in on election night in 2020 in Fulton County, Georgia, the Obama gang at Protect Democracy was there to back them up and slander the Hoff brothers. These attorneys are suing the Gateway pundit, Jim and Joe Hoff, in a St. Louis court. Although Ruby and Shay are from Georgia, the Obama attorneys at Protect Democracy must have thought the St. Louis court would give them the best chance to push through their BS case. They certainly should have known that Georgia's anti-SLAPP law would get in the way of a weak case. So if you guys don't know about Ruby and Shay, they were two of the people that were working at, was it the State Farm Arena? A lot of videos came out about their actions. If you guys remember, there was that video of suitcases being pulled out from under tables and things. And we're going to go over that one here in just a second, just to do a little refresher course, because a lot of people forget about this. Let me scroll down this article. There's so much in this article here. If I sat here and read the whole thing out and did my commentary on it, we'd be here for like 2 hours just on this article. But I highly suggest go to this article, look up some of the things that they're talking about, and just remember that this case has been, about the election frauds and stuff like that. That was dismissed. It wasn't case closed. It wasn't. There was no. There was no major ruling in the cases. It was just dismissed. That's all. So one of the things it says here, it has not been established in litigation with the Gateway pundit that Ruby Freeman has been exonerated from anything because they have not come to trial on the matter. That's one of the biggest things that I wanted to go over in this whole thing. When people are talking about the election fraud possibility in the Fulton County case, is that nobody who's accusing of fraud and nobody who's defending against fraud is correct in their assumptions, because the case has not been tried. It has not been tried. Every time this goes to court, it's a dismissal or a waive or something like that that just prevents the case from going forward. There's been no convictions made. There's no stone cold defenses that have been done. It has just been dismissed. Okay, so always remember that. If you have somebody who's super anti-Trump or super anti-election fraud, and they're talking to you about this as if it's a matter of a fact, you can tell them, no, the case was dismissed. It has not been tried. There has been no proof, one way or other, that has been decided upon. These judges are just refusing to do anything about the evidence that's brought forward. Now, what evidence am I talking about? And I think this is really, really concerning evidence here. And this is actually, I believe, this is the video that was shown during the dismissed case. I'm going to throw my microphone over to it, and I want you guys to hear what they are talking about in it.
We're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. This table, the black one, was placed there by the lady with the blonde braids at about 8:22 a.m. in the morning. So she put that table there. So the same person who's staying behind now, the same person who cleared the place out under the pretense that we're going to stop counting, is the person who put the table there at 8:22 in the morning. Yeah, I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. Yeah, upper right hand, you see the gentleman in the red. So he just pulled one out. So what are these ballots doing there, separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race. Because if it's only 3 scanners working for 2 hours, right, that's 18,000 ballots that went through. So we're now at 11:09. There were, in addition to the 4 workers that you see there were 2 other people who were bringing ballots in and out. The gentleman in red that you saw, and then a second person. I can't tell if it's a male or female based on their hair being pulled back in their mask, but in any event, that's 6 total people. And so if we were to sit here for the next 2 hours, what we would see is that this operation just goes on and on and on. They're scanning until about 12:55 in the morning. So we kept the video running. And, you know, we can show you the people who gave us the affidavits reappearing at that time, just as they said, around 1 a.m. to find out, are they in fact counting after they told us they would stop working or not? And we will fast forward to that. But have you all seen as much as you'd like to see of what's happening here?
I think so.
I think you basically get the idea.
Unless any member wants to see more.
Or you have any questions?
No, let's go ahead.
Okay. So let's fast forward to about 12:55 in the morning.
All right, I don't think it's playing. So there's a lot of questions that comes from that whole setup right there. Like, what was really going on? I'm not here to make any specific accusations on this whole story here. I don't know the processes. I really don't know if rescanning those documents is the thing that's supposed to happen. I'm not an election official. That's why we have supervisors and stuff like that that are on staff that are supposed to be there watching all of this stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, we saw on election night a lot of these kinds of videos that came out. It wasn't just Ruby Freeman, but I remember, don't quote me on this, I think it was Pennsylvania where they were putting up the boards in front of the glass and stuff like that, and they were blocking people from being able to view the actions and things that were going on inside the vote tabulation rooms. There was just a lot of these things that raised a lot of questions. Now, if all this was fine procedural, why did we kick everyone out? You know, the water main thing, that the reason why they cleared everybody out, come to find out much later that there was never a repair done on a water main. There was never actually a water main leak. And this is all evidence that's been put to the courts put to the courts in cases that were dismissed. And so we have all this evidence that has actually come out, but nobody will try the evidence. That's the thing that bothers me as a voter personally, is that we just don't have any answers to this stuff right here. Now, the case with Ruby against the Gateway Pundit, she's going after the Gateway Pundit for defamation of character, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that. Go to the article that I was talking about earlier. But yeah, I do believe it's a defamation thing. But the facts of the matter haven't been brought out. How can you sue for defamation if there's still an open investigation? I believe the Gateway Pundit is just doing exactly what most of us are doing, and they're just asking questions. Why were those suitcases of ballots under the table? I mean, were they could be completely legitimate. They may have been transported incognito as part of the process to make sure that nobody tampered with them or something. They could all be legitimate votes, and maybe she was having an issue with her computer and it said to rerun the ballots a couple times, and then finally on the third or fourth time it finally took the ballots. I don't know. But if she's innocent and there's no fraud in this situation, we should have no problem, pulling the records off of those systems. I'm kind of a computer guy. There's logs and all kinds of stuff that can be brought forward to clear her name. And then maybe what everyone is saying is slanderous at that point, and Ruby could get vindicated. She could get her justice like she should in that case, and we can move along on our way. And then most Trump supporters and most election deniers will say, okay, Trump legitimately lost there in Fulton County. Trump legitimately lost in these other places where there was some weird, questionable stuff happening. But people on the left and a lot of these judges who just happen to lean left, they just won't hear the case. They won't bring the truth to light. And I think that's a big part of what's fueling this whole MAGA movement right now. It's the lack of transparency. It's the lack of honesty. It's the lack of action that's being taken. And you have people like Governor Brian Kemp who are trying to say things like, oh, we should just move forward. We don't need to live in the past. Just look forward to the next election. No, we need to get this solved, because there's so many people out there that are looking at these videos, that are looking at this evidence that's circulating all around the internet, and they're saying, why should I even waste my time going to vote? Why should I put in the effort if they're just going to do stuff like this? Many people have already made a verdict in their mind. They already believe that there's massive bits of fraud that are going on. And because of that, they aren't going to go move into the future. They're going to let the past continue to affect their voting responsibility. And then to make matters worse, if my computer will behave, we have Democrats now claiming that there's election frauds going on, talking about some of the same exact types of actions, same methods of actions that Republicans were talking about years ago. All right? In this that I found here on Twitter, it's also on Truth, and there's a bunch of videos of it up on Rumble. I haven't scoured through my YouTube yet today, and that's my bad. But I can probably guarantee there's a couple of videos on YouTube about this too. It says, breaking. A Democrat county supervisor in Hines, Mississippi is challenging his party's primary election results after discovering massive election fraud. Quote, we have videotapes of someone going into boxes, bringing in thumb drives, bringing in ballots to be inserted into the machines. It's the same thing. The same thing. We're seeing it here again. The person he's talking about in the Hines County Democratic Party chair. If you watch this presentation, it sounds exactly like what happened in the 2020 election and 2022 election in Arizona. If Democrats are rigging their own primaries, imagine what they're doing in general elections. That's a great point. Kari Lake is going through this. I remember seeing videos, and I think it was pertaining to Kari Lake's election, where they certified all the electronic machines, and then after the certifiers left, a couple people came in and put USB drives in all the machines after they were certified. And those cases aren't being properly brought to trial. Those videos and photos and things like that are not being looked into like they should be. All their cases are getting blocked. And now you have this gentleman here who's very upset about his election, making the same claims as Republicans. Now, I've heard a couple of people say it, and it was on my mind as soon as I read this headline. If Democrats are consistent, why aren't they going after him for election conspiracy, fraud claims, and stuff like that? I guess we're going to see that here in the near future. But what I'll do is I will tag this one up underneath the video. So if you guys want to see this, this whole 23-minute press conference thing, you'll have direct access to it there. And I meant to keep some of my other tabs to do the same. I'll try to get better about doing that. I was told that you guys are having a hard time seeing these links here at the top. But like I said, the articles that I showed you guys before, most of it was like the Gateway Pundit, and I normally will try to tell you where you can go find those articles. So, doing my best to be transparent. Don't want to hide anything. Interesting though. So last thing that I want to go over, and today's episode's a little bit shorter. It's Saturday. There's not a lot of news drops that happen on a Saturday. So, but I want to bring this up. So I'm kind of torn on all of this, right? We have Oprah and The Rock. And here, it's a 1-minute video. Let me play it for you real quick. And this is about what's going on in Hawaii, about the Hawaii fires, and they're trying to raise money off of the people to help them out. So here, let me do this.
So if you send a donation, just click now.
Did I just witness what I think I witnessed? Please don't tell me I just saw a billionaire standing next to a multi-millionaire begging the average everyday citizen for donations that can barely get by due to a real-life recession, living paycheck to paycheck, barely can pay rent, barely can put food on the table for our families, okay? Living in a real-life recession in a country where our president is giving away all our resources to another country for money. If you two don't go take your Hollywood elite behinds to your other Hollywood elite friends and politician buddies that got millions like you do and billions and get all that money together and help out Maui, you are out your damn mind. Please don't insult our intelligence like that. And after you guys do all of that, you will have enough money to help the rest of us. Boo. Get out of here with that. The nerve.
Honestly, her opinion, what she's saying, I don't really completely disagree with her. Now, at least somebody is doing something to raise some money for these people, because we know the Biden administration just ain't doing it. $700 per person out there is nothing. Last episode I went on a real long rant about it. I'm still hot about this. Right? What was it? $44 billion going to the Ukraine, but only 1.9 million going to the people affected by these fires, while it was, 19 billion or something like that, or 20 billion going to auto manufacturers to upgrade their facilities to make electric vehicles. Like, our priorities are messed up. And boo on Democrats in office right now for completely snubbing their nose at the people in Hawaii, right? Like, I want to reiterate this point from the last time. Those are your voters. Hawaii votes blue, and votes blue often, right? These are your people. So if you're a Democrat or a liberal or anyone on the left, anyone who wears that blue color, right? You're looking at this stuff. You're looking at what's happening to the people in Hawaii. If something horrible happens to you, the people you're voting for, this is a direct example of how they will treat you. You think you're any better than the people there in Hawaii? do you think that they're going to take care of you? Like, how many of the people, you remember up there in Ohio, you know, where that train derailed and sprayed all the chemicals everywhere? Not everyone there was a Republican voter. No, not everyone. There was not 100% election. Yeah, it was predominantly conservative. But look how they treat us. Look how they treated the voters that did vote blue for you. And Hawaii is overwhelmingly blue. So now it's flip-flop. Now you get to see it on the other side, and the Democrats still don't care. They don't care at all. So we looked at what happened here, and we got Oprah and The Rock, and they're out there trying to fundraise off of people like you and me, right? Which is fine. That's fine. You know, if you want to donate, I implore you, please do. You know, find good, reputable sources, and if you think they are reputable and you don't mind donating to them, do it. You know, I want to see money get to these people down in Hawaii, because what's happening to them is horrific, and they need the help. They need every bit of it, and we're probably going to see some fundraisers coming up for the people of Florida after this hurricane just hit. And y'all keep in mind, you know, not everyone in these places can help themselves. Yes, there are some rich people in Florida. There are rich people in Hawaii. But there's also a lot of people, normal people like you and me, who are living paycheck to paycheck. And if you can afford to do it, I definitely suggest to please donate to some causes. Get these people some help. If you can't, I understand. Share the video, share the knowledge at least, and get people involved. But the thing that kills me the most is, and it's not these two that kill me, because a lot of people are accusing Oprah of just trying to do this to purchase up the real estate and stuff like that. But what kills me, and I found this older article here from usmagazine.com, and if you remember during the BLM riots and stuff like that, all these famous people had so much money to throw out there to help legal defenses, right? Like, look at some of the people on this list. Let me roll down here. We had Beyonce, was it Mayim Bialik and Jim Parsons, Taylor Swift, the entire NFL, Natalie Portman, John Cena, Jordan Peele, the group BTS, Michael Jordan, Leonardo DiCaprio, Angelina Jolie, Kanye West, Jack Dorsey, and the list goes on and 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 on. All right, so like, just, they got millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to give to protesters who burned down police stations, who burned down burned down small businesses, completely destroyed towns, and created so much havoc and destruction in our country. Created autonomous zones and things of that nature. But these same people are not rushing out to help the people of Maui. Is Maui, right? Yeah. Why? Why? How do you have money for looters, but you don't have money to save helpless families, to help children eat, to help recovery efforts of people? Y'all would rather watch that place burn and those people suffer than BLM protesters? That's a legitimate head scratcher. That doesn't make any sense to me. And so I really want to see some pushback on this. You know, if you're going to make a stand and put out for these causes and stuff like that, then how about do something that actually will help change somebody's lives? Because those protesters were going to be fine regardless. They didn't need all that legal defense. Most of those protesters had to go up against very, very blue judges. And those judges let them off. Have you heard of anyone that didn't get any kind of legal defense money going to jail for a very long time? No, they are fine. So all these famous people on that list, where are they at? At least we got The Rock and Oprah, you know, and I'm not saying that they're saints in this whole thing. It's going to be interesting to see how their roles play out in it. I really hope that everything that they're doing is legitimate. I'm not ready to condemn them yet, you know. I'm also not singing their praises either. From what I understand, Oprah was one of the first, kind of famous, wealthy people to show up all of a sudden, right as we were talking about how wealthy investors were trying to scoop up the land on pennies on the dollar. And I talked about that in one of my previous episodes as well. So we'll see on them. I get along, I understand exactly what old girl was saying in this video about how dare you try to get us normie people to donate. But realistically, Oprah and The Rock, they're looking for anybody to donate. Anybody. And that means famous people. That means business owners, you know, people that do still have some skin in the game. They can donate as well, not just us. So, you know, I appreciate what she said, you know, going after Oprah and The Rock, but at the same time, it's kind of an open invite to do the right thing. So let's see how many of these ultra wealthy, ultra famous people come running to the aid of people in Hawaii. I don't think we'll see it. For now, I got to give a little bit of respect to at least those two, Oprah and The Rock. I hope what you're doing is good. I hope it's clean and clear. They say that every dollar is going to be going to those people, directly to those people. Well, if that's the case, good on you. That means there's no penny pinching. There's no little bit off the top. If they say that every dollar is going to those people, all right. I'm cool with that. And maybe Oprah and The Rock will pay for the logistics of it all. You know, whatever fees it takes to transfer into the banks and things like that. You know, there's always that back end stuff in any fundraiser. So if they're willing to cover that stuff and make sure that every dollar donated is sent in, awesome. I think that's cool. And I'm not going to sit here and talk mad trash about them. I'm not even going to get mad at them, you know. We'll see in the back end of all of this if they were being legitimate. Were they being true? Then if not, that's when you'll see me back here on this channel going, yo, why? You know, I'll be cussing them out. I don't know what I'll say on that day, but I'm pretty sure I'll be pissed. But I'm willing to give everyone a chance, you know. Maybe they actually are being genuine about it. Let's give them an opportunity to be that. Like I said, if you guys have it in you to donate, the watchers of this show, you have it in you, do what you can. Those people do need some love. They need some help. And if not, send prayers, send thoughts. You know, people like to talk trash about the whole thoughts and prayers, but, you know, if I was in a bad situation and somebody who is in a rough situation at least sent me a letter or something saying we're thinking about you, that would mean the world to me. Even though there wouldn't be any money attached to it, the thoughts, they do matter. I've been in some bad ways before, and just having somebody put their hand on your shoulder and say, hey man, you need a shoulder to cry on, basically, you know, that means a lot. It really does. So whatever you guys can do, definitely do something for them. But that's about all I got for you guys today. Like I said, it's Saturday. It's a slow news day. Everything is about Trump's indictments and the little details that are coming out. Speaking of which, apparently it's come out today or yesterday that it will be live. The case for Trump will be live casted on YouTube, from my understanding. I wonder how censored that's going to be. We'll see. It'll be interesting. At the end of the day, I do believe that it's just going to continue to help Trump. I don't think they're going to get the 14th Amendment. This is my personal opinion. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that. But I really don't think they're going to get this 14th Amendment thing that they're talking about doing. I don't think they'll be able to honestly disqualify them. The only places I think that may have any success of doing it are going to be states that are going to go blue anyways in the election, that almost always go blue. So I don't think it's going to be anything. I think it's going to be a glass of water in the ocean. It's not actually going to change the tides at all. This is all a dog and pony show. It's all for looks. It's all for entertainment. Democrats think that this is honestly going to get people to not want to vote the Republican direction, to not vote for Donald Trump. But realistically, it's just kind of, codifying or solidifying the bases on both sides. But at the same time, let me take that back. It's not really solidifying on both sides. It's definitely solidifying the MAGA side. But as you see at the beginning of the video, people who say that they were blue before are now starting to come around. And that's what I think it's all about. I'm glad to see it. I myself am one of them people that came around. I look forward to seeing more people coming over to this side because there's a lot more common sense here. I know we all have our differences, but when we talk freely, we can work them out. My name is Drew Smith. This is We Talk Freely, brought to you by Green Table Gaming and the Local Spin. I will see you guys, we'll see here. Today's Saturday. I'll see you on Tuesday with the next episode. Until then, stay out of trouble.